Enjoy this conversation with me, Maureen Kimani, every Friday from 9 a.m. on our Health Corner show here at Capuchin TV. Your health is your wealth.
A very good morning to you, dear viewer. Thank you for joining us right here on Capuchin TV on our Health Corner show with me, Maureen Kimani. And it's a program brought to you by Capuchin TV in collaboration with LifeSite News, where we dive into conversations that are thought-provoking just to help you to make informed decisions. And of course, you can help your friends, you can help your family. And of course, you can be able to learn a lot from the topics that we discuss right here. And as we say, I don't do this alone. We normally have guests in the studio, and today I'm very delighted to have a very beautiful and phenomenal lady in the studio with me. And of course, we'll be getting to know her and what she does as we continue with the conversation. And remember, in case you'd love to reach out to us to share your experiences and your thoughts, you can do that on 0717424866, or you can use our SMS number, that is 21760. You can leave a comment on our YouTube and Facebook page. And today our conversation, that is teenage pregnancies, as you can be able to read down on your screen. So there's a lot that is happening in the society today. As much as we have these young ladies, young children who have pregnancies, what are the causes? Who is to blame? Is it the parent? Is it that the teens don't listen, whatever they're being told by their parents or their peers? We'll get to know all of that in this conversation that is on our Health Corner show. A very good morning to you once again, and welcome to the conversation. Hi, Daktari.
Hi, Maureen. Good morning.
Good morning to you too. You're looking very beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, good to have you, and at least we share some colors with you.
Yes, I think we woke up with hot pink.
Might be. Yeah, ladies, thank you for making time, and it's a pleasure having you right here in our Capuchin TV, and of course in this conversation, our program. Thank you for making time. And because people know about Dr. Kagia, but they would love to know, what do you do? Kindly tell our viewers.
Good morning, viewers, and thank you very much. Thank you once again, Maureen, for inviting me, and for Capuchin TV for inviting me to share a few things. My name, as you are told, is Dr. Jean Kagia. I am a consultant obstetrician gynecologist practicing in Nairobi. That's quite a mouthful. But what it means that I spend my life looking after the health of women when they are pregnant and when they are not pregnant. Only diseases of women. Yeah. Yes. I'm also the chairperson of what we call the Protecting Life Movement Trust. This is an organization that was formed in the year 2000 by churches and parachurch organizations to address the whole issue of the sanctity of life and abortion in particular. Our main mission is to protect, defend, and uphold the sanctity of life. As we're doing that, setting up that in 2000, we came across the change of the Constitution. And you remember we had an issue of the abortion, yes and the no. We were actually the technical advisors to the churches on how to handle the issue of abortion. While we were doing that, we came up with an idea that this pregnancy that makes the girl go to abortion is not a medical problem. It is a social problem. So it requires a social solution. And thank you very much for having one of my directors, Margaret Maura, last week. And she talked to you about our intervention of giving a social solution to a social problem where girls are rejected from home by parents or guardians. They have only two options. Either they go and perform an abortion, go for an abortion, or commit suicide. And both of them are not good options. So we take them in, we give them accommodation first and foremost, we counsel them. We are Christians, so we tell them even if the whole world hates you, God doesn't hate you. So we teach them to trust in God. We have a very good Bible study book, which is called The Woman of Worth. You are of worth even to the Lord, pregnant or not pregnant. And then, of course, we give them life skills, We give them skills in life. And then we facilitate antenatal care and delivery. Most of these girls are pretty young and they're likely to have problems of delivery. So we choose health institutions which can give very good care, particularly if they need some operations like cesarean. Yes.
Dr. Kage, and I applaud you for the good work that you're doing to the society and especially to the young girls. Thank you. You're making a very good, you're making a good environment for everyone and creating a good society and future women like you. Yeah. Thank you very much. And let's continue with this conversation since you've talked about the movement, Protecting Life Movement Trust. And we know that you have a Kyoto rescue center, a rescue home that is in Murang'a. But before we get to that, what do you have to talk about? What is teenage pregnancies?
Okay, thank you very much once again, Maureen. Anybody who is under 18 is taken to be a child. So when you talk about teenage pregnancies, it is pregnancies that occur before somebody is an adult. Anybody who gets it from below 18. And sometimes you have girls even as 9, 10 getting pregnant. So that is the pregnancy that comes around that adolescent period. Yeah.
And what's the connection, you and the young girls? What inspired you to have that kind of heart of helping young girls who are rejected, in the families or even in the society? What inspired you?
I think it's a long story, but I'll shorten it. After I did my first degree in medicine, I rotated through different departments, and I was fascinated by gynecology and obstetrics because every time somebody gave birth and I saw new life, it made me feel very excited. And when you look after a baby inside the mother's womb, you hear the heartbeat. Maybe you see an ultrasound. And then the real one comes out and screams. You feel something. And every new delivery is a new experience. So I thought, let me go into this line. And I went into that line. And while I was practicing and training as a postgraduate student doing my master's, I noticed that there were many women who came for emergencies to be cleaned up after losing a pregnancy, whether they went for an abortion or whether they had a miscarriage. And I remember this fateful day when I was working 24 hours and had to clean about 40 women, believe it or not. And what struck me is that when they were waking up from the anesthesia, they had something in common. They were very sad, they were crying, and you could see that emotionally they were very devastated, whether they had gone through an abortion or whether it was a miscarriage. And being a believer, as a Christian, I prayed and I told God, please help me to see whether I can contribute something into this society to reduce this kind of misery in the girls. So that motivated me into now looking at the issue of this pregnancy, which is not planned. And of course, I also spend a lot of time looking at those who have miscarriages and have issues where they don't know why they are miscarrying. So I also look into the protection of those. And being now the chairperson of the Protecting Life movement, as I said earlier, we now thought of what do we do with these girls? You can't tell them, you're hungry, go home, be fed. No, you got to give them food. So because they are pregnant, they are rejected, you got to take them in somewhere, give the accommodation, feed them, and do everything. And by the way, they don't pay a single cent. We look for well-wishers, and God has been very faithful. We have been able to feed them. So that is what prompted me into all this, and I'm enjoying it.
The main point is that you are enjoying it.
Yes,
you have a passion for that. Yes. And thank you very much on behalf of the whole society.
Yes.
Well, and after you have taken a look at these, teenage pregnancies, and of course, being an expert in that field, what did you find? What are some of the causes and the factors contributing to these teen pregnancies? Because Kenya ranks third worldwide in teenage pregnancies. Why is that? Who is failing who?
I think you've brought in a very good point, Maureen. I don't know whether you remember mid-2021, there was this hue and cry in the media that there were so many girls who are pregnant in Machakos. And the striking thing was that it was during the total lockdown. And now the question was, what is the agenda behind this? Is it real? So looking at it, I said, who is making them pregnant? Who's making, and they're at home. So I decided to go back into our statistics. And I looked at the issue of incest. And I saw that before the COVID, the incidence of incest was 11%. Then within that 1.5 years, into the lockdown, we had admitted 30 girls, 30. Out of those 30, 10 were from incest. So we have moved from 11 to 33. What was even more shocking is out of those 10 who were from incest, 3 of them were from grandparents. So what is it? What does that mean? It means that in the world we are talking about a teenage pregnancy. They are being made in the home. Everybody is blaming everybody outside there, but they are not talking about it themselves. From there, when I looked at it, I was so disheartened. I said, but our statistics are not very big. Let me go ahead and ask a little bit more. And so I went, connected the GBV, Gender Violence, Based Violence Center. Those who got a free toll line, 1195. And they told me, yes, it is true. Incest is very rampant in this country. However, it is a secret. We don't get any parent or any relative coming to report. It is only the neighbors or somebody who knows about it. So they told me, oh, if you're going to deal with that, I don't know how you can do it. It's a top secret. Exactly. Because and they do, even if they come forward, what do they do? 2, these children may not know that it is wrong in the first place. Or even if they know, daddy is doing it, so where will you go after that if you report daddy? And from their statistics, the number 1 culprit was the father. Number 2 was the uncle. Number 3 was our cousins. And you gone down, we have even looked after our girls who are made pregnant by their brothers. So the family setup seems to be one of the major causes of these teenage pregnancies. But unfortunately, we have a conspiracy of silence. We don't want to hear that is being done. We are quiet about it. The other thing which is a bit of a worry is that even the mothers of these children are conspiring for this conspiracy. So if a girl, like one girl was 10, the father had sex with her, and the girl came and told the mother. The father and the mother sat down, they discussed, and the conclusion was they beat her up to silence. Told her never, never, never tell anybody. So you see, a mother who is supposed to be protecting her child, and even for those who are Christians, surely, the Bible asks in Isaiah, can a woman's tender care cease towards the child she bear? These women in Kenya have lost the tender care of their children. We had another one who was made pregnant by her father. And then she gave birth to a baby girl. When this girl reached the same age of the mother, the same man made her pregnant.
Terrible.
What happened? The wife of this man and her in-laws threatened the person who reported. So even the society around, even the larger family, does not want to hear that this is happening. Some of them say they are covering the family name. But my question is there a family at all? The marriage bed is supposed to be pure according to the Bible.
True.
The minute that is replaced with a child or with anybody else, the covenant is already broken. So you can't talk about marriage. No. So that is one of the things we have found. Incest is quite a lot. I was talking to one of the counselors in high schools, And he told me, we are counseling a lot of girls who have gone through this. By the way, even boys go through it. Only that they don't get pregnant. And some of the girls have asked the counselors, is there any way we can stay in school during the holiday? Why? We don't want daddy to go and do it again. We don't want uncle to go and do it again. And so you find that it is there. And we cannot deny it. But we have to bring up the conspiracy of silence, expose it, and then think as a society, what should we do about it? Of course, the others are anybody who is a rapist can come around and rape the little child, anybody who is not treated to the family, anybody else. But my main concern, and then there are the boyfriends, whether they are real or imagined. You hear some border boys, you hear some teachers. But those, I don't think, are a big group. The biggest group is from incest. So if we are going to talk about teenage pregnancy, we must ask ourselves, what are we doing as a nation to protect our children? Yeah.
And as you talk about, protecting our children, is it a societal problem? And of course, what happens to the security of these young girls? Because we call it a home because it's a home where you feel loved, you feel secured. But now, if these things happen, the incest and the rape, I'm sure that's why the girls don't want to go back after they close the school, because they don't feel secured. What do we do about that?
In fact, that's why we want now to come up and discuss it as a lot, all the different departments. Because when we had the launch of our documentary, maybe you can show it one of these days, on Stop Incest. And as we shared it, somebody sent a very touching tweet. And he said, a home which is supposed to be a place of love has turned to be a crime scene. Isn't that very shocking? Where that child is supposed to be loved, cared for, provided for, has come out as a crime scene. Why is it a crime scene? Because if you go to the Sexual Offences Act, having sex with an underage, whether there is consent or not, is a criminal offense. So we are committing a lot of crimes in the home, and we are covering them up. Talking about now security, you got to ask yourself now, what do we do with these girls? As I alluded to earlier, if it's a small child and she only knows home, where does she go? If she tells uncle, she might find uncle who is ready to do it. So who is she safe with? And that's where now the whole issue of what is the government trying to do? One of the things that I am very happy about is that in every police station, there is a GBV line, a GBV desk, where somebody can report. But tell me, Maureen, how will a 10-year-old go to the police station and report?
They won't even, feel secured. Or
she doesn't even if she knew it was there.
Yeah.
We have the free toll lines, like the 1195, and they're doing a wonderful job. But that child doesn't even have a phone. So she cannot go and report. Now, let's assume it's a big girl who is in high school and can know it's wrong. If she reports, where will she go? Who will pay her school fees? And some of them are blackmailed. If you don't have sex with me, I'm not going to pay your school fees. I'm not going to buy this, I'm not going to buy that. So she's blackmailed and she just has to accept, in spite of the problems she has. So you find that there are some interventions which are going on, but they have problems. Let's take another thing. Suppose somebody reports and the police have come in and taken this case.
Sorry about that.
After they have, whether they have apprehended the person or not, where does that child go? Are you going to take her back to the same man who knows that he was arrested and probably bribed and was released? What will he do with that child? Utadu, he'll still continue doing it. with impunity because nothing will be done.
Sure.
So there must be a system where safe homes like our Kyoto are established in every county, so that when the police get such a person or the children's department, they are taken there straight away while you're apprehending the person and dealing with him legally. Because you can't leave them in the police station.
True.
Then from there's the whole issue of justice. Quite a lot of cases are done traditionally, maneno ya kinyumbani. This is things of the family. So you don't have to worry. So a few elders meet, maybe they eat a goat.
They slaughter the goat.
And by the way, they don't give the little child even a
case.
piece of meat. They eat, they sort it out, and the matter is finished. Or they use their kangaroo court with the nyubakumi and all that. So you find that this traditional kind of thing also needs to be tackled. For quite a long time, we've had a big problem with the judiciary. People report, and the case drags on and on and on. Some of them give up, others get enough money to bribe. But you see, you are trying to work on the problem there. You are not even helping the victim. But I want to say here, we are making a few strides. I was very happy the other day when the Chief Justice, Justice Madakome, said that all GBV cases, and incest is one of them, must be dealt by the courts. So I think they'll be able to remove all those kangaroo things and maybe improve the justice system. She also reported that they are going to have GBV courts. You are hoping that these GBV courts will be able to take over all the cases and maybe make them emergencies. That if a case comes, you go, you give a judgment, the fellow is put in while you are waiting. And we have seen a few things where cases where they've done very well.
Wow.
You remember the Mukurino from Kirinyaga? He had defiled 2 of his girls, made them pregnant, and he was jailed for 140 years. 70 years for each child, and not run concurrently, one after the other. You see, that kind of a thing, particularly when it is broadcasted, it helps people to know that this is wrong, and maybe might stop a few from doing it. I think the other thing which I've been seeing in the press is that they also want to have a register. All those who are involved in GBV and defilement and all that, they'll be put in a register that this is one of the criminals. So a lot is happening, but much more could be done because it is very, very sensitive. It is very sensitive.
True.
Because this child has no other empowerment. They have nowhere else to go. The other thing that has been going on is that we have a group called the Network of Shelter Givers. So that one now is trying to map up where the shelters already. So if a child is hurt, before the government puts up its rescue center, can you channel her somewhere? And then we get in touch with the children's department and the police, and you have found them taken care of as they go on. So when you look at it, there's that security. We are trying to sort it out in many ways. Sorry, it was a bit long.
No, it's all right, Daktari. And no, you're doing a very good job, and thank you for shedding light on that and by putting insights and perspectives about this issue on the teenage pregnancies. And I think with that, we're going to take a very short break, but when we come back, you'll tell us about the problems associated with these teenage pregnancies, and of course maybe how we can help these young girls in case there's a person who is watching us, because these people need counseling, because the crisis still continues. If you ever go through a certain situation, the consciousness is still there.
Yeah.
But what do we need to do to make sure that this crisis is, held and they get some counseling about that? You'll talk to us. That is after when you come for the break.
Yeah.
And thank you very much, Daktari, for doing that.
Thank you.
We appreciate. And in case you still have any question to Daktari, you can do that on 0717424866, or you can use our SMS number, that is 21760. We're taking a very short break on a conversation that is teenage pregnancies. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Enjoy this conversation with me, Maureen Kimani, every Friday from 9 a.m. on our Health Corner show here at Capuchin TV. Your health is your wealth.
Quando vou à igreja do meu bairro, vejo somente pessoas mais velhas. A igreja agora é coisa de velhos?
La iglesia no es un club para la tercera edad, como tampoco es un club juvenil. Si se convierte en algo de viejos, va a morir. San Juan Pablo II decía que si vivís con los jóvenes, también vos te volvés joven. Y la iglesia necesita a los jóvenes para no envejecer.
Dear Pope Francis, why did you choose the theme Mary arose and went with haste for this World Youth Day?
Porque María, en cuanto sabe que va a ser la Madre de Dios, no se queda allí tomándose un selfie o presumiendo. Lo primero que hace es ponerse en camino a toda prisa para servir, para ayudar. También ustedes tienen que aprender de ella a ponerse en camino para ayudar a los demás.
Qu'attendez-vous des Jeunes de Lisbonne?
Me gustaría ver en Lisboa una semilla del mundo del futuro, un mundo donde el amor esté en el centro, donde nos podamos sentir hermanas y hermanos. Estamos en guerra, necesitamos otra cosa, un mundo que no tenga miedo a testimoniar el Evangelio, un mundo con alegría, porque los cristianos, si no tenemos alegría, no somos creíbles, no nos cree nadie.
Rezemos para que a Jornada Mundial da Juventude em Lisboa
Will help us young people to set out in this journey.
En témoin de l'évangile par nos propres vies.
Enjoy this conversation with me, Maureen Kimani, every Friday from 9 a.m. on our Health Corner show here at Capuchin TV.
Welcome back, dear viewer. Thank you for joining us right here on our Conversation Health Corner show with me, Maureen Kimani, and it's a program brought to you by Capuchin TV in collaboration with LifeSet News. And in case you're joining us right now, we have a guest in the studio, of which we have been able to share more and on this conversation about teenage pregnancies. That is Dr. Jane Kagia, who is an obstetrician and gynecologist and a chairperson of the Protecting Life Movement Trust, and we continue to help you to make informed choices about this conversation, to help you by creating awareness and educating you. Well, welcome back to our second part of the conversation. Karibu sana daktari. Yeah, thank you. Before we had gone for the break, I mentioned about after we come back, you shall talk about the problems associated with these teenage pregnancies. I think you can carry on with that.
Yes, we can carry on that. But I think I would like to say something that many people don't know.
Go ahead.
We have the organization called, I think it's a parastatal, called it used to be National AIDS Council, Control Council, NAC. But now it has changed the name. It is National Syndemic Disease Control Council. Don't try that one.
I was to mention about that national syndemic.
Yes, and one of the things we need to say is they're doing a very, very big job. They identified two things, that teenage pregnancies are a lot in the country. The incidence is high. They also identified that HIV has become very rampant in teenagers, in adolescents. And of course, now the GBV. The GBV we have discussed and said, yeah, the worst GBV is really incest. So what they have done is come up with a program for prevention by mobilizing the stakeholders. Some of the people they are dealing with are what they call the gatekeepers. And they put in a lot of energy and resources into that. So they go to a county and they make a very big baraza. They invite county commissioners, their deputies, chiefs, their assistants, the Nyumbakumi, the elders, the religious leaders. They also involve the police, anybody who is, or any community volunteer. They are brought into a big baraza and they are talked about those three threats. You know, the incest and GBV, and the teenage pregnancy, and the HIV. And of course, they have experts giving their advice on and educating the community so that they start doing something about it and protect the children. And I think that is very good. I think one of the meetings I attended, I think I addressed about 1,000 people. And you can imagine when they go to the various counties and they share that. And they started this early last year. They're still going from county to county. And we are hoping that that will also help to make people become brave enough to discuss the topic, bring it from under the carpet, and see what to do with it as we try to prevent it. So I thought I would share that one because it's a very, very good initiative, and I thank God for it.
Yeah. And of course, we appreciate the good work the Nyumbakumi is doing. Of course, it's helping solve so many problems that are happening in the society nowadays. We appreciate for that. Well, as we continue, let's talk about the comprehensive sex education. The
comprehensive sexuality education.
Exactly.
There has been a lot of debate on what kind of sex education should you give to the children. Who should give it? How much? And things like that. A few years ago, I got involved in what was going on. There is a program that had been piloted in this country, which is called Comprehensive Sexuality Education, program called the Life Starts With Me. And as I investigated it, I found it is not appropriate culturally and morally for this nation, because it comes up from the angle that sex is a right. And therefore, a child has a right to have sex. A child has a right to have sex when they want, where they want, in what position, with whoever they choose, and the parents must not know. And that has been the main crux of the problem, that the people who study on morals and ethics are against that particular program. And when a parent is not involved in such an issue, you can see people are sexualizing the children. You're making the children have sex as if it is fun. I remember I seeing a clip by the BBC on the same. And one of the children was asked whether they are taught about sex. And he said, yes. Then he said, hata tuna practice. And then the boy says, hata saa ingine tuenda shule kama saa 11 asubuhi ndio to practice. This is a child giving a testimony live on a broadcast.
And they're very innocent.
And this has been taught. So when you look at it, you don't have to bring a program which is not culturally sensitive to the morals of the society. However, again, you can't leave the children to be taught by the internet and nothing else. So one of the challenges that should be there is, one, can the parents be involved in this education? Can it start from home? And as it goes from home, then the child will grow with it. Can they be involved in the discussing curriculum? At the moment, we have public participation in everything. Because we know there are these two lines. There's one who comes, this is a right, so teach the children. These are parents know that maybe they're right, but they are not able to make any major decision on it. They need guidance by the parents or guardians, and therefore we shall not allow anybody to come and ruin our children. But if there was a public participation, we would come up with a middle ground, because knowledge should be given. Even the Bible says that people perish for lack of knowledge. So knowledge should be given, but in what context? In the context of the culture, which could be the African culture, and the religious culture. It should be in the context of morals. Are you bring up your child to be a morally upright girl? Are you telling her it's a right to go and sleep with everybody and anybody? As if there are no complications on those children, which will come up after they have been involved in it. And I think when we talk to children, there are things that we have to keep in our mind all the time, that there'll be a challenge. And those challenges require a choice of what to do. And the choice has consequences. So if we have an issue of sexuality among the youth, as a nation, as parents, educationists, we need to make a choice. If we make a choice that has sexualized the patient, the children, then we have to have consequences. You may have that girl who is wild and everything, and get HIV and all those things, and eventually not become a responsible parent. Or you may have somebody, another choice, where you want to bring up the child in a moral way. So as we look at these issues, even as a nation, we need to remember we have a challenge and we can't bury it under the carpet. But we have to think of the choices and come up with them in such a way that they are going to be beneficial to these children. We are told that we are 85.5% Christian. If you are going to uphold the values, and you know it's wrong to have sex with a child and outside marriage, then you would have to come up with the policies and guidelines that to help these children to do that against the influx of what is coming from the West. But unfortunately, we believe that everything imported is good, including bad behavior, and that we must be able to decipher and refuse. So that is about the comprehensive sexuality education.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Ri, for adding and for making sure that you make sure that you reach out to people by giving them the correct information. And by adding that, I would say choice matters.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank
Exactly. And let's continue with these adolescence threats.
Yeah.
What are some of them that these teenager girls can experience?
The problems.
Yes.
I think let's go back a little bit before they get pregnant. Let's look at this child having sex. This child has not developed fully. They're still children. And therefore, even their biological organs are going to be destroyed by that sex. And we have seen children come with the injuries. I don't know whether you read about this child who died a few months ago. She had been defiled by her uncle. He did a lot of damage. She went through four operations, but died after the fourth one. And the child had been 10. So the destruction of the organs, physical destruction, is a lot. The second thing is the psychological effect. This child, you put her into some confusion. You're supposed to be protecting this child. You're supposed to be loving this child. And yet you're inflicting pain. If daddy is doing it, he's made me feel pain. Is it really the daddy who loves me? If uncle does that, is it that? So psychologically, they get very, very devastated. When they are very small, they may not know whether it's right or wrong. But as they grow up and they realize it was done, they feel like they could kill that person. I remember a story of a girl who the father had done it. And one day she refused to look after the father. And everybody thought she was a very bad girl. She said, no, I don't want to do with that man. Doesn't even say daddy, that man. As she grew up, she remembered how bad it was for him to have done that to her. So this kind of psychological problem goes on with the rest of her life, unless there is God's intervention. And even when they get married, somebody who the other day was being counseled by a marriage counselor, she's over 40. Her marriage is in shambles. But when the counselor finally found out that it went back to the fact that she had been defiled as a child, so that even having sex in marriage brings complications. So what I want to emphasize is the problem of the psychological effect even before the pregnancy comes in. Now comes a pregnancy. The pregnancy is in a body which is not fully developed, not fully grown. It's coming to somebody who is not empowered in knowledge and even able to look after themselves. So you find most of them don't go to hospital for clinics. Most of them don't eat well. So their health complications are more as they carry the pregnancy. Then because of their underdeveloped bodies, they may not be able to deliver normally. So they tend to have delivery complications. Some of them may find themselves having what you call fistulae. Fistula is where the connection between the bladder and the vagina, and somebody leaks urine throughout because they were not able to go to hospital, and maybe nobody was able to do a cesarean section. And they also tend to have quite a lot of cesarean sections because they can hardly deliver that baby. There's something I would like to bring up, very, very important at this point, when you're dealing with a teenage pregnancy, that this is a child. You're going to give her the baby to look after, but we must remember that this is a child having a child. And therefore, the society must look at them as people who need to be looked after two babies. Even for us in the hospital, if you get, for example, a boy of 17 and a girl of 15, 14, and they have gotten together, they are in what they believe is a marriage, and they are living together, and the girl has got pregnant, and she comes to the hospital for delivery, and this girl needs an emergency. And once she has delivered, they'll be given the baby to look after. Do you know, legally, none of them can sign for that cesarean? Legally, they can't. We say that they are not mature enough to understand what a cesarean section is. And it's a question of saying, I'll cut you and move the baby. But legally, they are not qualified for that. Just like they can't vote, they can't do it. Even cesarean sections, they cannot sign. Somebody has to come and sign. If the parents are very far, the doctor would have to sign at a medical ground, and then when a relative comes, they have to be explained what happened. So these children are children. And I think even looking after the baby, there should be some social support to have the child bring up a child. You get my point?
Sure.
So there are not only the delivery problems, there'll be problems for after delivery. What else? What other problem comes in? This child was in school. She's now a mother with a child. So will she ever finish school? We applaud the Minister of Education because now the regulations is that after giving birth, they can always go back to school. But then you have another social problem. There may be nobody to look after that baby when she goes back to school. So who will look after the baby when she has gone back to school? And that is where now you need the rescue centers where probably a child can go or be fostered. They are trying to bring the number of children's home down. But we still have that problem where there's somebody who has nowhere else to go and must be fitted in somewhere with the society.
All right.
So you find that they have those problems. Education is cut down, future progress goes down, and yet it's just because of a pregnancy. And by the way, the person who made her pregnant is progressing.
Very
and once
true.
they finish the university, they're not going to go and marry this illiterate girl. So what am I saying? I'm saying that the problem that this girl gets into, all the way from the sex that somebody had with her, the physical problem, the psychological problem, all the problems around the pregnancy, and after the pregnancy, is quite a tall order for a little child.
Very true.
Yeah.
And with that, Doctor, I'm just going to read some few comments from the people who are watching us. There goes Felista, who says, there is a Felista watching from Gatondo. Good discussion from Daktari. Lucy from Riru, good work, Dr. Jean. And as we go on.
Thank you very much for that appreciation. Let's share things. Even after this, go and look it up in the YouTube. Tell people to read, to listen to it. Education is power.
True.
And knowledge is power. But my passion is, can we look after our children? By the way, when you were dealing with incest, I also was able to approach the police to find out whether they get these cases and what they do. And my shock was, they told me, they give me data for 3 years. And by the way, our police keep such good data that other departments should go and learn from them.
Very true.
And within a short time, they give comprehensive data. They even showed us where some of the victims are boys, what percentage are boys, what percentage are girls. But they told me, I'm sorry, Daktari, this is just a small tip of the iceberg. If you're able to do anything about it, to bring it out, we are with you.
And that's why we're here, by educating them and creating awareness.
Exactly.
All right. Thank you very much, Daktari. And after all these issues and whatever you have been able to talk about and see and experience yourself, apart from maybe parenting, that of which you have been able to talk about and point out some few things that can be done by the parents, by making sure they have that kind of sex education, by telling them, if you choose to have this, sex at young age, there's consequences, of which we tell them, the young people, to abstain till marriage, of which the Catholic Church and of course every other church, that's what they make sure they tell the young girls. What about the society? Where are they? What about the church? What should they do?
Let's start from what we found. Again, from incest, we found that this is a secret that is kept. So we asked ourselves, the police have said this is a top secret. GBV have said this is a top secret. You talk to people, it's a top secret. So we said, what is the entry point? What should be done? And then, as we were praying, and asking God what to do. There were two incidences. One of them was a child of 3 or so, who was very good in class. Then suddenly she went blank. And the teacher went and asked her, what is going on? And she said, I don't want anything. I don't want to talk to me. I don't want school. I said, okay. You don't want everything. But there must be a reason why you don't want anything. So after quite a lot of probing, she said, you see, my daddy beat my mother, and my mother ran away and left me with the daddy. And then daddy did bad manners to me. And then I was told I was pregnant. He went and caused the pregnancy to be removed. I was in pain. I don't want anything. I don't even want to go home. Another one had been made pregnant by her father at 13. He had made her pregnant twice before. So she didn't want to go through another abortion. And so she thought of, in her childishness, she thought if she kept hiding, it would never be known. So she was wearing a sweater. So the teacher one day recognized, with all this heat, why are you wearing a sweater? And then the child gave the reason. So what am I saying? That God opened a way for us to realize if you deal with the education system and teach, empower the education system to identify and tell them where they should take these cases and what should be done, that would be one of the best interventions we can do. When you talk of education, you talk of academic education, where they go to learn ABCD. But we are also talking, and by the way, when we empower the teachers, we discovered there's some teachers who have even lost their jobs because they reported a case on incest, and that happened to be a family so-and-so, and they are removed from their career for speaking the truth. So we must also find a way. How do you have systems where our teachers are protected? They can bring up this case, even if it is confidentially, but nobody's going to penalize them for doing a good job. The second education system is the moral system, religious system. So, and you know, if you look the church, it has so many opportunities. It has Sunday school. It has youth ministries. It has the young adults. It has mothers. It has fathers. So if this becomes a kind of a normal discussion in any of these groups, and appropriately, what is the role of men? What's the role of women? What's the role? What about the youth? If it's done to you, do you report? That kind of thing, I think would go a long way in sorting this thing up. But again, the church is a part of the society which has put a sellotape on the mouth. It's not talking. Even with we have talked with other religions, and even Muslims, when they take their children to madrasa, also have the children taught. So the society has to come up in protecting. And of course, I had alluded to the issue of the security forces, where they will have to make sure that once you report to the police, there is a system which can be followed. I've talked about the sheltering of the children. Every county should come up with a shelter and equip it well and take care of the children. I have talked about the judiciary. We need to get to a point where these cases are fast-tracked. From my point of view as a doctor, my point of view, I may be dealing with things which are what you call cold, things that can wait tomorrow. But I see something called emergency. I wish the judiciary would take this to be an emergency, so that as soon as somebody has been brought in, a case is opened. The court is opened, they are dealt with and removed from the society immediately. Because once that is done, this child even has somewhere to go back to. She may not even need to go to the rescue center because she has a home to go to. If it's a cousin, that cousin is put in. But of course, there'll be a lot of fighting as the society comes and says, no, you go to your cousin Putin, we are going to beat you up or kill you. And then, of course, what National Syndemic Disease Control is doing, mobilizing and educating the community.
All right.
So that they also come to know that they have a responsibility on this very dangerous thing, so that at the end of it all, we protect our children.
Thank you very much. And by doing that with the Protecting Life Movement Trust, we stop incest. And there's a question here from Jackson from Kiambu as we wind up on our conversation. Anasema, Salimia Daktari, we discourage incest and I agree. What is the best thing to do when you discover or learn that it has happened from maybe very close family members?
Thank you very much, Jackson, for the encouragement and the question. That is what we are saying. He's no longer a family member who is a friend. He's a threat to the child's life, and he's a criminal. What do you do with a criminal? Report the criminal.
All right.
If you find somebody killing, what do you do? Even if it's a relative, they go in. They could kill you also. So if he's doing this to this child, he probably will do to another child. So let the law take their course, whoever it is.
Thank you very much for that, Daktari. And I hope, Jackson, you have captured the insight from Daktari. And with that, I think because our time is up.
Oh, is this?
Exactly.
No, you must have. Are you sure the clock is working?
I'll ask my director behind the scene. But it is, so I'll give you just 1 minute to do your takeaway. And in case maybe one would love to get some help, how can they get you or reach out to you?
Okay, thank you very much once again. The takeaway is that we have been given children, and our responsibility is to nurture them, is to protect them, is to provide for them, and to guard them. We must not turn our homes into criminal sites, like that person put it. And I think we need to go back and find out, what are we doing to our children? They're the future of tomorrow. If you destroy them today, who are you going to leave the country with? So let us take our normal responsibility as God has given us. You can reach our rescue center, our number, Protecting Life Movement Trust. If you call 0721 376 742, someone will answer. And this may not be because of your child. You may see somebody in your community, the girl is sleeping in the street, she's pregnant, she has nowhere to go. What do you do with her? You bring her, you look after her.
Okay.
And by the way, we don't worry about her age. We even look after people who are more than 18. Where we don't care about whether they have medical conditions. Even if they have HIV, we still look after them. We have dealt with some who are mute, they can't talk or hear. But what we do is we value that life. So as long as they are in a crisis pregnancy, they belong to us.
Wow. I don't know what to say. I mean, I don't even know where to start, because you've been able to touch everything that I would love maybe our viewers to get. And thank you for the Protecting Life Movement Trust of stopping the incest. And my takeaway is that let's create a good environment for our children, especially the young girls. Let us educate them about the choices they make. And as we say, choices matters, and they have consequences by introducing them to this kind of conversation, by creating awareness. And for the young girls, please abstain. Listen to your priest, listen to your pastor, whatever he's telling you about, whatever you're supposed to take care of yourself. Kindly listen to your peers, your teachers. And in case you know a person who has gone through such kind of situation and they would love to have counseling, of course, so that they can be able to get away with this crisis. And by having that clear conscience, you can follow the Daktari's number that she has been able to give out for the Protecting Life Movement Trust, and they will be able to help you. Thank you very much to you, Daktari, for making time and for sharing your insights.
Thank you very much, Maureen. I've enjoyed. And thank you, viewers, for taking your time. Without you, we'd be speaking to ourselves. But let's take action. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. God bless you. Next time, make the hour longer.
I'm sure we'll talk to our director so that we can have more time for this discussion. Thank you very much to all the viewers. Thank you for your feedback to our Capuchin TV crew behind the scene. We have Anthony Simiyu, we have Pauline Donga, we have our Mheshimiwa 2027, that is Peter Mwangi. May God bless you all, and not forgetting Eric Oteno. Thank you for the great work you're doing for helping the Capuchin TV crew to reach out to young people and of course to people out there by giving this kind of information and conversation. My name is Maureen Kimani. Have a blessed day. See you next time.
Amen.
Enjoy this conversation with me, Maureen Kimani, every Friday from 9 a.m. on our Health Corner show here at Capuchin TV. Your health is your wealth.
Quando vou à igreja do meu bairro, vejo somente pessoas mais velhas. A igreja agora é coisa de velhos?
La iglesia no es un club para la tercera edad, como tampoco es un club juvenil. Si se convierte en algo de viejos, va a morir. San Juan Pablo II decía que si vivís con los jóvenes, también vos te volvés joven. Y la iglesia necesita a los jóvenes para no envejecer.
Dear Pope Francis, why did you choose the theme Mary arose and went with haste for this World Youth Day?
Porque María, en cuanto sabe que va a ser la Madre de Dios, no se queda allí tomándose un selfie o presumiendo. Lo primero que hace es ponerse en camino a toda prisa para servir, para ayudar. También ustedes tienen que aprender de ella a ponerse en camino para ayudar a los demás.
Attendez-vous des James de Lisbonne?
Me gustaría ver en Lisboa una semilla del mundo del futuro. Un mundo donde el amor esté en el centro, donde nos podamos sentir hermanas y hermanos. Estamos en guerra, necesitamos otra cosa, un mundo que no tenga miedo a testimoniar el Evangelio, un mundo con alegría, porque los cristianos, si no tenemos alegría, no somos creíbles, no nos cree nadie.
Rezemos para que a Jornada Mundial da Juventude em Lisboa
Will help us young people to set out in this journey.
En témoin de l'évangile par notre propre vie.
Welcome to St. Martia Mulumba Mission Hospital, a medical facility which provides quality, accessible healthcare services to all.
St. Martia Mulumba Mission Hospital is a Catholic faith-based health facility owned by the Archdiocese of Nairobi, and it's managed by the Dominican Missionary Sisters. Our charism as Dominicans is evangelization. Our missions are the ministries where we are involved in health, education, social work, pastoral care, media, and other ministries. We are founded in 1877 and have grown and moved around the globe. St. Martia Mulumba Mission Hospital offers various services, the inpatient services and the outpatient services. It was started as a small dispensary in 1994, and it has tremendously grown to a level 4 hospital. We provide holistic care to all our clients and to all our patients.
We have result-oriented, friendly and resourceful medical staff who serve our patients with love and compassion.
The patients are comfortable and they are well taken care of, and they are receiving the quality care, and that they are happy.
We also offer services that require specialists. So we do have orthopedic clinics, we have obstetric and gynecology clinic, we have neurosurgical clinic, among other specialized services that we offer. About the investigations that we do, we offer radiological investigations from X-ray to ultrasound to CT scan.
The hospital is accredited by NHIF, and also we accept other medical insurances.
In St. Martia Mulumba Hospital, we are fully accredited NHIF in Contract B. Contract B means that we have both outpatient and inpatient. For outpatient facilities, one has to choose St. Martia Mulumba Hospital as their outpatient facility. You just dial *155# and you follow a step-by-step instructions on your phone. For inpatient, we have several packages which are payable by NHIF, and you don't have to choose a facility for that. We have maternity packages, both normal and cesarean section. We have a surgical package, which is usually done upon NHIF approval. We have a resident sanction who usually takes care of that. For the civil servants, we have a dental and optical services for the civil servants, which is fully payable by NHIF. And then we also accept cash payments for the people who usually pay through cash. You can pay cash in form of Mpesa. We also accept payments through credit cards. You can come and swipe your ATM to make your payments if you don't have maybe cash or Mpesa.
We have different kinds of insurances, the AAR, the Britam, the Jubilee, and many others. There are more than 30 insurances that we have as partners in the hospital.
Our laboratory is well equipped and is ISO certified.
Our laboratory is a level 6 according to Kenya's classification, so we are basically able to do most of the tests in-house.
We also have the ICU and the HDU unit, which is the newest unit we have opened. We have the palliative ward where we take care of the cancer patients, and we also take care of those bedridden patients who do not want to stay at home but they want to be in the hospital because of their nursing care. We have another new unit, the newborn unit, which is well furnished and it is up and running. We have a satellite clinic also.
Every Wednesday we have Mass, and every Friday at 7:30 in the morning. During the week that we do not have Mass, we have the Bible sharing with the staff, where each staff preaches. We preach to one another and we share the word of God, and we pray together as one, as we also move to the wards towards our patients to pray with them and also to give them our blessings.
We are located at Makongeni in Thika off Garissa Road. Visit us or call us on 0734 915 779. You can also email us on medicalreports.matia@gmail.com.
We provide affordable health care and lower prices, whereby everybody can afford the prices that we offer in the hospital.
St. Martia Mulumba Mission Hospital, for compassion, care and love.
And for more information about the Dominicans, you can contact us on 0728 023 920.